Yeah, thanks a lot. And thank you everybody for coming out tonight. It's great to see everyone. Some familiar faces from last time. So I wanted to give a little overview of what Discovery does because it's not what I thought it did when I got here. And the structure kind of defines some of the technical challenges that we need to look at as a company. So I imagine everybody's familiar with the Discovery Channel. And when I first started working here, that's kind of what I thought that Discovery really was, like Shark Week and animals and stuff like that. But it's a lot more. So Discovery Channel got started in 1985, and it was originally a cable network. So there were 156,000 subscribers in the U.S. only. And then in 1987, Shark Week debuted. In the 1990s, we started working multi-channel. So we acquired TLC, Animal Planet. Discovery in Espanol was actually the first Spanish language channel in the U.S. We expanded to Asia and Latin America. In the 2000s, we opened a really, honestly, pretty badass headquarters in Silver Spring. I used to live in D.C., and if anybody ever saw it back in the day, it had like a big fucking shark on it, and it was really, really cool. Hey, welcome. Yeah, have a seat. So the focus of Discovery as it's kind of moved forward has been to kind of continually broaden its base. So Discovery Education, Investigation Discovery, the Oprah Winfrey Network. In 2014, there was the acquisition of Eurosport, which also means that the next Olympics cycle, which is the Tokyo Olympics, we're going to have the sole broadcasting rights in Europe for the Olympics. And then in 2018, we acquired Scripps. So that includes HGTV, the DIY network, food, fine living, travel, a bunch of stuff. So the Discovery Channel really isn't a channel, it's the Discovery Network. And as a result of this one network kind of being an umbrella over a whole bunch of different companies, there's some pretty unique technical challenges that come from that. We've got a lot of different kinds of users that access different channels that we have, and we've got a lot of different devices that we need to support those users on. So we support applications on different mobile networks, mobile devices, different TV platforms, and that's kind of broadly what we're doing here. So I don't want to really dig in too much more, but if anybody has any kind of broad questions about what we're up to or what Discovery does, shout them out now. If anybody's shy, we can chat later. As Kevin mentioned, it's Kevin Kane, which is kind of one of the more badass names that I've heard recently. It's a good name. Thanks. Yeah. He mentioned there are some cards up there, so if anybody's interested, the engineering team here is growing pretty substantially right now. The entire company of Discovery is moving from being a media company into more of a technology company right now, and there are all of the associated growing pains with that as we do that. But feel free to reach out. But any questions right now before we get going?
What level are you hiring at?
We really have openings kind of across a bunch of different levels. So we're kind of more interested in the kind of person that's applying. Like, welcome. Talented, motivated, curious, and we can work with that. Any other questions?
One question over here. I know that channels like National Geographic is investing in some virtual reality content. Is there anything like that now on the Discovery Network?
There's been a lot of conversation about that. We have recently started working on kind of a more comprehensive application, and there have been talks about live streams from the top of the pyramids and stuff like that. So there's a big appetite for doing that kind of content. How that content ends up being delivered to users is kind of still TBD, but those conversations are happening here. I know it's kind of a non-answer, but that's kind of the best we've got.
I can't resist. Would you say that there's virtually no VR right now?
On that note.
So what are some of the project teams in New York City working on that might be like a...
Yeah, that's a great question.
And what stacks and what kind of places?
Yeah, so we've got a heavy investment in Go in our service layer, Golang, which is a pretty interesting kind of tiny service language. We've done a lot of work in React Native, and web technologies. We've got native apps in using Swift, using Objective-C. We've got an entire suite of Android apps using Java. Roku. We've got Roku as well. How could I have forgotten? So if anybody knows Bright scripts, let us know. Yeah, anything else? Awesome. Okay, so I think there's some great presentations this evening. You want to...
Yeah, so thank you, Kyle. Thank you again.
Yeah.
So where are all the technologists for discovery? Like, what is the technology? Like, where are the IT people for discovery?
You mean
is it all in New York City?
Oh, that's a great question.
Where they're located?
Yeah, so, I mean, discovery is a really... All right.
Stand up here, or what am I doing?
Well, you'll let yourself-
My thought before I joined Discovery was that maybe Discovery was
Yeah.
like...
It's all right, we can move the mic and
Yeah.
Next to your mic.
My thought maybe that it was like 800 to 1,000 people at Discovery, but Discovery employs over 10,000 people. Like, there are a ton of people. And a lot of that is because we've got a bunch of distinct networks, and some of those networks are geographically located in specific areas, like networks like Eurosport, or I think Eurosport's either in London or in Paris. We've got a bunch of folks that are in Western Europe. We've got large presences in the Pacific Rim. We've got lots of LATAM stuff. In terms of development, we've got a lot of primary development in New York. So we've got a pretty big technology presence in New York. Yeah, we also have folks in Seattle too.
In this building itself?
Yep, in this building itself.
Okay.
All right. Thank you again, Kyle. Thank you, Discovery.